Good morning. Welcome back to Relationship Cake and Ice Cream. Today, um, I'm going to be talking about relationship building. Today is the first part to my Women Empowerment series. It's called When Women Soar. Okay, so let's talk about relationship building. Um, my focus is normally on romantic relationships, but relationship building is in all areas of our life, whether it's with a significant other, a lover, friend, family. These are all relationships that have to start somewhere. So, relationship building with others is not always easy. We know everybody has their own personality. Relationship building can be very difficult, but I do know it starts with you. Many of us learn to look at others and point fingers that way whenever it's any issue. But relationship building starts with you. Whether or not you want to build a relationship with someone or not starts with you. Whenever you see any signs that the relationship cannot be a positive one, then there's nothing to build there. You probably should abandon that idea from the beginning. But being conscious of how you interact with others, and how your interaction affects the relationship is important. That's very important because you often hear people say that people treat you how you allow them to treat you. So that's why your interaction is very significant, because if they mistreat you from the beginning and you accept it and you don't address it, then the other person may think that that's okay to treat you in that specific manner when actually you're not comfortable with it. If you're like me, I really don't like confrontations. I didn't really grow up witnessing them, and by nature, my personality, I don't believe is confrontational. But a lot of people, they enjoy that back and forth, being confrontational. So if you're the kind of person that certain things in a relationship that you see that you don't really feel comfortable with, that's not a relationship you want to be involved in. Both persons are responsible for their role in making the relationship work. Let me just repeat that for the people in the back. Both people are responsible for their role in making the relationship work or not. So it's no finger pointing at the other person. You must also accept your role in a relationship for it to work. So, in other words, a lot of people wind up in abusive relationships, but most of the time, even though the onset of the abuse may be subtle, how they address it during the onset is very important to whether or not that abuse will be continuous. If you allow yourself to stay in a relationship that is abusive, then you have allowed that abuse to continue, because your very silence in staying is complicit. Okay, you're actually giving off the impression that you are complicit with this abuse, although we know that you're not. Now, you may be looking for love, or you may be hoping that the person would change, but most of the time people are who they are, and people have to learn to accept that from the very beginning. Oftentimes, people find themselves in relationships that could not have worked out from the beginning. You find yourself clashing with someone, you constantly have different opinions. Your different opinion leads to arguments, or you're not speaking for a couple of days, or whatever it is. Usually, you have indicators from the very beginning that the relationship could not have been a success from the very beginning. But Many times we choose to ignore those signals, ignore red flags, in the hopes that the red flags will disappear. Most of the time, red flags do not disappear, they just continue to grow. One red flag, then there's another red flag, then it's another red flag. But most of the time, we're caught up in our own fantasy of love or the feeling that felt good, when we first met the person or the beginning of the relationship, when everybody was on their P's and Q's, making sure that they, don't mess up anything at the very beginning, being really nice, mannerable, accepting, whether you agree or not. Those kind of red flags you have to really pay attention to. That usually means that somewhere down the line, the discord will intensify. Because once you get past that beginning of feeling of, everything is hunky dory, then it will go into what everybody is willing to voice their opinion. So once the opinions start to be voiced, then that's when usually the arguments get even more intense. So you want to make sure you don't ignore any red flags right from the beginning. N- That is usually an indicator that the relationship will not work out to be successful. So let's talk about who is the most important person in a relationship and why. Well, without a doubt, in any relationship, you being the person in the relationship, both people are the most important person in the relationship because your happiness matters, and that's why. What you get out of that relationship um, is has to be very important to you. Okay, without a doubt, you are the most important person in the relationship. We all have heard, like, if when you're in a relationship, you give up the I for we and a me for us. Okay, those phrases may be true in a really good relationship, but the I is always there. You are always there. You're part of that relationship. So this journey is yours, and how it ends matters. It matters to your happiness, your well-being, your mental health, your physical health. Bad relationships can really take a toll on you physically, mentally, and emotionally. So your happiness does matter, and in the end, how it ends matter. It should matter to you. Okay. All issues in a relationship matter. Some people have issues that are not important to other people. Everybody's issue in the relationship matters. Some examples are issues that may be important: trust, integrity, commitment, faithfulness, and there's so many more, like non drug use, alcohol use. These are all things you have to think about, especially if you're thinking about committing to a long term relationship. You have to think about the issues that are important to you because those issues are going to define the relationship. Love is not enough. Love has never been enough. It will never be enough. Love is not enough. Once you fall in love, that's just the starting point of the relationship. We hope that love can heal all the issues that crop up. But if you go into any relationship thinking that your love is enough, you're wrong. Your love is not enough. Okay, that's what you have to know. That is so many more issues that are important when you're in a relationship. Okay. What I would suggest is you also identify what is not important to you in a relationship and why that would not be important. Because you might find out what you think is not important actually is very important for reasons that you haven't explored yet. Let's talk about happiness in a relationship. Why does your happiness matter? Most people think happiness is created by feeling outside of themselves. Happiness is satisfaction with self. That's what happiness is. People think a loving relationship, money, financial security will make them happy. Those are temporary fixes for happiness. They're temporary. Okay. Relationships do not mean happiness. The truth is, happiness comes from satisfaction with self. Period. No relationship can make you happy. It can add to your feelings of happiness. It may make you feel good. The endorphins is flowing. You know, you feel very good about it. But your need to feel good with yourself is what you need to enjoy happiness. Okay. And feeling good with yourself will help you to create a happy, healthy relationship. Okay. Because if you know yourself, you know what you like, you know what you don't like, you know what's important to you know what's not important to you. That's what you have to know in order to have a successful relationship. You never want to be in a relationship with somebody who is not for you. Okay, that's the bottom line. We all different. We grow up different. We come from different backgrounds. We have different belief systems. And when we get in a relationship, we're trying to bring those things together to create a couple, a family, and move forward. So you always want to make sure you're happy with yourself and know yourself in order to be in any relationship, because being in a relationship does not create happiness. Okay. Being in a relationship with yourself, you must identify the qualities that you have for yourself. Do you have love for yourself? That's the first one. I mean, if you don't love yourself, then you're giving off that energy in the universe to anybody you get in a relationship with. You're letting them know you don't love yourself. They can treat you any way that they want to because you don't have love for yourself. Loving yourself is always evident in how you treat yourself and how you allow others to treat you. What do you do for yourself that indicates you love yourself? That's very important. Okay, what you do for yourself, how you allow others to treat you, how you treat yourself is an indicator of your love for self. Okay, so let's go back over what we talked about today. The most important person in a relationship is you. Um, Relationships often end with finger pointing at the other person, but you are responsible for your role in the relationship. Do not ignore red flags. They are very important indicators as to whether the relationship will succeed or not. Um, Relationship building starts with you. That's very important. Be conscious of how you interact with others and how your interaction affects the relationship. Okay, that's very important. Your happiness matters. That's very important. You have to know that your happiness matters because at the end of all, you are part of that relationship and how it ends matters. Okay, that's very important that you have to know how the relationship ends matters. You are on this journey, not just your partner, and this is your life. You have a choice. Okay, it's not happenstance. Okay. Um, Remember your life, your choice. Thank you for listening. This is the first part series for Relationship Cake and Ice Cream, When Women Soar, Empowerment Series, Relationship Building. Signing off, your host, Robin.